name is Oliver Tate. I suppose it's a bit of an affectation, but sometimes I wish there was a film crew following my every move. I don't quite know what I am yet. I've tried flipping coins, listening exclusively to French crooners. I've even had a brief ad phase, but nothing stuck. My parents have not had sex for 7 months. I've been monitoring their intimacy via the dimmer switch in their bedroom. Jordana Bevan's moderately unpopular, which makes a romance between the two of us more likely.
Meet me under the bridge after school and we'll take you from there.
Now kneel down. Close your eyes. Wow, you look mentally retarded.
What are you going to do with the photos?
What are you complaining about? This is conclusive proof they might not be gay.
Mr. Tambourine, submarine man we got here. Or submarine boy. I don't know.
That's funny. 'Cause in my head, I keep hearing Prince go, submarine.
Really? In my head, I keep hearing William Shatner, Mr. Tambourine man! In this case, a submarine boy.
You know what's funny, though, is like having seen this film and thinking back about it, I don't have any idea why it's called Submarine.
I know. When I was watching it, I kept waiting for that to come up in some form or fashion.
In
It was
some
over.
way,
I was like, all right, well, they're in Wales and there's a lot of water around. But
Yeah, but there's no, I mean, even like in a metaphor sense.
Exactly.
It's like,
There's no
I
theme.
don't get it.
Like
What
you
this has to-
submerge.
You know something? It might be because of this director. What really made me want to see this is that it's directed by this guy named Richard Ayoade. It's A-Y.
Asshole.
Yeah, asshole for fucking with us with this title right here. Yeah, no. It's
Richard non sequitur.
no, his name is Richard Eliev, Ayoade. I don't know how to say his last name.
Is he Turkish?
I wonder that because the name Elif, right?
Right.
But I don't know. He looks kind of Indian. Now you might have seen him because he's an actor too. He was in The Mighty Boosh as a guy named Sabu, a character named Sabu.
Oh, the Mighty Boosh.
The Mighty Boosh.
Yeah,
That's Sabu. You know that character, right?
I know who he is. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Wow,
he was also Dean Lerner in Darth somebody's Dark Place?
Darth Marenghi's Dark Place.
Dark
There you
Place.
go.
Yeah. He was-
Darth Marenghi. or something
Yeah.
like that.
He was like the head of the hospital that got the mustache.
Okay.
Yeah. So he's got kind of a weird sense of humor. So maybe he meant to throw people off with this title. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Huh.
Okay.
That's odd because this isn't the type. I mean, while this is definitely
Not at all.
comedy, it's not the type of comedy that would feel that's like
No.
a Mighty Boosh or Dark Place type comedy that functions on surrealism on some level.
Yeah,
at
you
all.
telling me that right now is blowing me
Because
away.
this is basically a coming of age story. Just it's another one, and it's different from a lot of the ones we've seen in some ways. But it's certainly not absurdist.
No, it definitely felt like it was sort of in the vein of like a Rushmore type story.
Yeah, I can see
than
that.
anything. Yeah.
I've heard those comparisons of British Rushmore.
It really does. I mean, it really makes you. It made me think of that. But it's really well done.
In what
Well, you
sense,
remember
though?
all
Is it the story or is it the directing style?
the
character being
main
kind of a
character.
loner.
Yeah.
He's
smart
narrating
ass.
his own story. Yeah, well, not really. He's not as much of a smart. You remember all that cool stuff that happened in Rushmore?
Yeah.
None of that happens here.
That's funny. So the character in here, kid named Oliver Tate.
Yeah.
He's trying to lose his virginity before his 15th birthday.
That's part of it. Yeah.
Part of it.
yeah.
But there's also like something weird going on with his parents.
Yeah, like his dad, played by Noah Taylor, is
Love that guy.
Yeah, I do too. He's
Yeah, I do
super.
too.
He's really depressed, and so him and the mom are kind of drifting apart.
His mom is the girl from Maiden
Sally
Dagenham,
Hawkins.
Sally Hawkins.
From what?
I said Maiden Dagenham and Happy Go Lucky.
You know who else she was? I think. I'm not sure. I think she was this annoying bitch in Layer Cake.
What she might have been. God, I don't even remember back.
She looked like this chick in Layer Cake who just wouldn't shut the fuck up, and she was about to get shot. You like, shut the fuck up. They're going to shoot you. And she just wouldn't quit running her mouth. She was like one of those British people had those tacky tracksuits on.
Yeah.
The kind that Jewish people and black people wear here, like most British people wear.
And
If that doesn't get you killed alone, I don't know what will. Yeah.
and she's usually great at playing these bigger than life characters, and here she's not. She's both the parents are very much in the background because the story's not about them. It's about this kid who is really neurotic, but maybe only from the nostalgic kind of point of view of the film. I mean, this feels like looking back on childhood. It doesn't
Right.
feel like it's from the viewpoint of this kid so much as it is from an adult looking back at the viewpoint.
Who probably
Like,
thought he was a little more mature than he was.
I mean, it's almost like you expected Daniel Stern from the Wonder Years to be narrating. Tell you about. Well, that's back when me and Wendy got together and it didn't work out so well.
So suffice to say, this is not meant for kids. It's not a kid's movie
Not
at
at
all. It's meant for people who are thinking about their youth and the mistakes they made, and quite honestly, what an idiot they were when they were that age. And it's not like it's not laughing openly at it so much as it is smirking at it as
Yeah.
this kid goes through the series of mistakes that most of us made on one degree or another, trying to be popular but trying to be a nice guy at the same time, which is, as we all know, completely impossible.
Which is the best part of the movie, especially like, you know, when you realize that the girl that this kid is picking on at the beginning of the film, just to get some like cool credits, like he actually had some history with them, that romantic history, which makes it even that more funnier. Like you discover that as the movie goes along, but just the quirkiness of it, I really dug, because it's like, wow, I can see coming from an asshole's perspective of how you do something like that, but how it would bother you only because you're like, what am I doing? What the fuck am I doing? This is fucked up.
It's odd in the situation he finds himself, because while he doesn't really expect that any girl is going to like him, suddenly a girl does. And I don't know if you have the name right there in front of you.
It's a girl named
sort of a crush on her.
He's able to woo this girl. Like you figure, like, okay, this girl, she's tough. She's very self assured. I have a crush on her, but she would never like me. And
the character's name is Jordana Bevan. She's played by an actress named Yasmin Page.
Right.
And she's now I saw the trailers, like, you know, she's pretty much just leading this guy on.
Have you got the camera in the diary?
Do you have the pamphlet?
Give me the camera. Now kneel down.
Please, Jordana, what is this?
Kneel down. Close your eyes.
We kissed until our lips felt swollen. Her mouth tasted of milk, polo mints, and Dunhill International.
Well,
No,
sort of.
not
I mean,
really.
she's just self-involved, really.
Okay.
And she's like, he's a serviceable boyfriend to her, is the point. Like, she's a girl who has her own set of problems. And part of, I think, the realizations in this movie for this main character are him stopping feeling so entitled and feeling like the whole world revolves around him when he starts to see that other people have their own entirely unique to them worlds going on and lots of shit pressing down on them. And part of it is him seeing that through this girl. I mean, I don't think she ever sees it back in him, but it's him sort of coming to terms with the fact that, like, everything ain't all about you, buddy.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and partially through his odd and off again, on again relationship with this girl.
But I love that girl only because you're like, God damn it, where was this girl? You know, where was this girl when I
that
needed
girl
her?
was everywhere, and you would be lucky not to date her.
Well, see, I didn't want to be lucky.
You want to know that? You want to know that girl was? She was ignoring you. That's where she was.
I dated 6 or 7 of that girl for like a week.
In your mind.
But you know what? She was that girl.
I don't look back fondly at any of
She
them.
was that girl that constantly ignored you, but constantly was like stalking you in a weird way.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, what's the deal? And you go to talk to her, and she just walks away. I don't know about that, but I love the hard to get types. So that's what made me fall in love. And the fact that this kid actually, like, you get to see him actually fulfill that kind of weird dream, like fantasy of getting with a girl like this. But yeah, you see why it's all fucked up.
And we see why you never get now.
Exactly.
Exactly.
In the meantime, he's watching his parents' marriage start to dissolve because their new neighbor is, what's the actor's name? Patty Constantine, who is an old high school hookup of her mom's, like the last love of his mom's. And he's a silly self-help magician, kind of. Like, he does these new age seminars with tricks, and he's got funky hair. And she's kind of immediately taken with him. Like, oh, but look how far he's come. Look how great he is. And the dad, who's totally just like the kid, he's just kind of doesn't really do much. And
He's even worse than
He's
that.
just completely passive, has no clue what to do about this.
I mean, he's like a guy who probably only, like, he's a scientist, so he probably only had a little bit of personality to begin with. But he seems to be going through some depression, so even more so, he's withdrawn.
So he's just sitting around watching TV all day.
Watching TV, he's not interacting with her
He's
much
not
at
having
all.
sex. He's not giving her compliments, ignoring her. So when a guy comes around, even though he's looking like Gallagher or Mandrake or something, it's something. You know, it's like this guy's got life.
He looks like the biggest Rush fan ever. But the thing is that, you know, this guy, his character is like, he's like a guy that was plucked from the guy who directed Napoleon Dynamite in those films.
Yeah.
He almost looks like a quirky enough character to where he was plucked from that film and inserted in this.
Well, shit, Noah Taylor always looks that way.
Yeah, well, the thing is that
Are you talking about Patty Con?
No,
I'm talking about the
dad?
self-help guru.
Oh, Patty Constantine.
that
Sorry.
guy. I mean, and the thing is, I laughed my ass off watching him every time he was on screen.
He was super funny.
He was fucking hilarious. I wanted to see more of him, especially when you actually get to sit down and hear his whole lecture about how you should go through life and how you should conquer it, which was like the funniest part of the movie to me.
There's so many many assholes like that out there now trying to make money that I feel like I bump into one of them every fifth people.
So where he liked that character, you didn't like him at all.
You know what? No, the thing is, I felt about him a lot like I did about Dermot Mulroney in About Schmidt, where it's like, okay, this guy, he has a mullet and he's doing something cheesy and you're supposed to like laugh at him every time. But it's like, you know what? When it comes down to it, he's just a guy doing his thing. I kind of felt like, you know what? They're trying to make me laugh at him because of what he's doing, but I don't know. He doesn't seem like really a terrible person.
Yeah, if anybody in here is the most unlikable person, it's probably him. But at the same time, this isn't one of those films that's drawing broad strokes at all with its characters. I mean, the point of this whole thing is to show that everybody has different sides of them. They got bigger problems than you see. And I feel like you at least get a touch of that with his character. But, you know, I think, like I said, he himself is kind of tertiary. It's like you're really watching this kid dealing with all these things, including trying to trick his parents into falling back in love with each other, which is hysterical. And he can't stand this guy. So he's constantly trying to like.
Who, the neighbor?
Yeah, he's constantly trying to fuck with him. And that's some of the funniest stuff on there. Like when he pisses on his bed.
Oh, man, why you revealed that?
Come on, man.
But you know what? The thing is, I hear everything y'all are saying. I'm like, yeah, but I don't think I'm with you on this movie because I felt like, wow, when it started, I love the quirky style of it, love the way it looks, like the characters. But there came a point halfway through, I was like, this kind of is going nowhere. I just, you know, I was like, I see these events, but none of it is really charming me. I'm just kind of, I was like, I really had high expectations for it. Not before going in, because I went in not knowing anything about it, but just the way it started, I had better expectations for where it ended up. It's kind of like, all right, I guess
I gave Submarine the Das Boot.
Yeah. No, there was a little drag in the middle, but the thing is, I like the ending so much that I gave it a pass.
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. I mean, this isn't a film for everyone. It's a better art house film than a lot of stuff that's out there right now, I think. But even though saying that, there's some good art films out there right now. But I thought just the quirkiness of it, and just it was kind of a day in the life of this kid just trying to make his parents' situation work and dealing with these odd characters and just, you know, trying to understand it and why people are acting the way they are, especially himself, where he's like trying to like internalize all this, and especially dealing with this romantic angle that he's kind of forced with, where you realize, okay, he's completely unprepared for all of this shit.
And nothing in here is breaking any new ground in the genre, to be sure. In fact, early on in the film, it feels like it's going to be faster paced and snappier and have clever edits all the way through.
That's what I'm saying. It had all that in the very beginning.
And then it just kind of like goes back, okay, now we're actually just going to do the story.
Right.
And it kind of loses that sense of urgency. And that was one of my biggest problems with it, that it was like, okay, why are you launching with this huge wave and then like nothing? And then it turns into kind of a regular film. I would have been less distressed with it if they had found some way to keep like a standardized like format that way. And the worst thing I can say about this film is that it is uneven in that sense. But that being said, I laughed all the way through it. I genuinely liked these characters. I really liked the performances. I wish we had seen more performances from the parents, because those are both such great actors.
Yeah, I love Noah Taylor. When I was like, oh, it's Noah Taylor.
Right, exactly. And Sally Hawkins, I'm a huge fan of. I would have loved to see the two of them really get a chance to play off each other, which they never really do here.
Right.
But, you know what? I mean, I'm just going to go to the review, if that's okay with you, Korey.
I just got to ask you one question, though. You know, I was looking at this, and I like movies like this, these independent films. What kind of gets to me sometimes, and not much, but you see a movie where it's so aware of its independent film status that it almost feels like it's going overboard with the oddities that it throws in its film. Almost like it goes overboard with the gimmicky filmmaking that it can, you know, some just weird visual
I know
style
what
that
you're
it
talking
has.
about. It doesn't do that.
It doesn't do that.
Yeah, I think it's more clever than a lot of those films that try to do that. Like, let's say the guy who does those Napoleon Dynamite films. Like
yeah.
It's no, what was it? The last movie he did.
The Buffalo Gentlemen Broncos.
Gentlemen Broncos.
Yeah.
But that was just absolute garbage any way you look at it.
But what you're saying, like those kind of independent films you're talking about, where somebody will mention something and then they'll do a cutaway and act it out in some way.
Well,
Maybe with animation. This doesn't do that.
I wouldn't feel like I have to disagree with your terminology there. I don't think those are films that know they're indie, and so they do that trying to be indie. I think there are lots of films made all the time that try alternate ways of telling a story, and most of it is shit. Most of them that do come out are shit, but a few are still good enough that they get a shot in the theater. And you know, and sometimes they're not so good, like
Yeah.
Gentlemen Broncos, and sometimes they're fucking fantastic, like 500 Days of Summer. You know,
Right.
it's just kind of toss up like anything else. They're just films that Hollywood, with wide distribution release, isn't willing to take a chance on because they're too oddball.
So what would you? Okay, so yeah. What would
Oh
you
yeah,
give
I'm
this?
sorry.
No, excuse me.
I give this a high matinee. I think this is a film that, like, if this is your type of thing anyway, if you like these type of films, and you should know by what we've told you so far, whether or not this
God
is
damn
the
it.
kind of film you usually like, then I think you're really going to like this one too. You're probably going to walk out of it charmed, but not like maybe not enough so to go buy it when it comes out on DVD or something. But yeah, it's definitely worth a look.
How's the kid? What's the kid's name in the movie? Craig Roberts. Is he?
He's great, man.
Is he? I mean, he's a central character. Is he?
Yeah. No, he's great.
He should play
he-
Harold in a remake of Harold.
I
and
know.
Maude.
Yeah.
It's totally that. Yeah.
And a remake of what?
Harold and Maude.
Harold and
Great.
Oh yeah, he should.
yeah.
I don't know. It's just someone I
He's
saw.
like a young Welsh Bud Court.
Yeah.
Yeah, he just looked like a kid that I'd be at a party and he just know more than I would. I'd want to beat the fuck out of him.
You did a party.
He just like he knows everyone's outcome in life.
Yeah,
And
he's
just
like
kinda
he's
staring
smarter than
there,
like he's already kind of college educated. He's like embarrassing me in front of people already. And I'm just kind of like I'm gonna wave him
You
out
know
the
what? He
parking
would
lot.
probably not even talk, but everybody would be there in their party clothes having a good time, and he'd be wearing a full black suit and a long overcoat, carrying a briefcase.
Yeah.
It's like he just walked around in that all the time. That was his look.
He's an observer of life and
Yeah, what,
time.
so what would you?
I mean, the thing is, you know what? These guys are bringing up a lot of good things about it, and it still comes back to the fact that, man, there really is some great acting going on. No doubt about it. And I liked so much of it in the beginning, and yet about 30 or 40 minutes into it, it just kind of went, I feel like it just plateaued and just never went back up. It never recovered.
Lost that
from
energy, huh?
It really lost the energy and never recovered it. At least for me. I was just like, and if it hadn't started so strong, I probably would have been like, okay, this is the kind of movie it is. But it's like, damn, man, you showed me what this could have done, and it's just not going there. And you know what? I mean, for people who like it, God bless them, you know, and you should see this kind of movie. I just think I would have a hard time telling somebody, oh, you should go see this, because I feel like there's a good chance they're going to come back to me and go like, okay, what was it about it that I needed to see in that? And they'd be like, I don't know. For me, it's just it's.
I said, what was it I was supposed to? Like they're gonna throw your ass up against the wall.
But you talk to me. You laugh, but I do have people come up in my face. Even like when I love a movie, they're like, "So what was so special about that?"
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's like, you know what? Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
I'm gonna ask you one more time. What was so special
That's
about
not an
this?
answer, Leon.
So what would you give it?
It's a rental to
That's
me.
a rental. So
Yeah.
the movie went to a depression. Didn't give you no compliments. Stop having sex with you. Didn't show you
I mean,
no love.
I'm not saying a rental like to put it down, but it's just like it's hard for me to recommend it beyond a
If I
rental.
saw it on Netflix, I'd be like, wow, what a gem. What a discovery.
Yes, exactly.
I can't believe I didn't see this in the theater in 3D. Vibrating seats in the D box.
In the
D-box.
I love submarine movies in the D box.
Whenever you guys mention Submarine, all I think about is that, the guy from Cabin Boy, what's his name? Chris
Elliott?
Chris Elliott. Remember that TV show he did where he built a submarine in his bathtub?
Get a Life.
Yeah.
I used to love Get a
Yeah,
Life.
I think about that episode whenever
That's a
I say
coming of
this.
age story.
Yeah, it is exactly. But no, I see what you're saying, Leon, and I agree with a lot what Cyrus was saying. It's just one of those like refreshing movies that it didn't take me in that route that a movie like this could have easily been like the Gentlemen Broncos or something, where when you kind of think about it, you really, as far as like the main character is concerned, he's trying to get his family back together, but he's a kid that doesn't even know how to get his own life together. So it's an interesting kind of journey to see how he interacts with all these people. And I thought the comedy was funny enough to where, you know, it had me laughing, where I was just like, wow, okay, this is a nice surprise. I wasn't expecting it to be funny. But other than that, I really enjoyed the hell out of the characters. I really love that girl, though. I mean, walking out of that theater, I was like, damn it, I still want to meet that girl. You know, if I can go back in time and meet her again, just to experience, it'd be worth it.
You can go back to jail.
Lady, I want to be your pocket massage.
So what'd you get?
Hey, that girl's like 20, you know, but
You hope.
but no, I mean, it's a solid matinee. But yeah, I would be a little hesitant to bring somebody who I know would rather watch X-Men, because you're gonna be sitting there, it's like, don't you enjoy this? And like, oh no, fuck off. How come we're not watching X-Men right now?
Yeah, why
asshole?
would they go see that in the first place?
Yeah, you and your artsy fartsy shit.
If you want to be a real asshole,
funny.
yeah.
Yeah, unless they were a pedophile like you.
Yeah, exactly.
Hanging out. Wait a minute, those kids are like 18, right? They're like,
Yeah, but they're playing kids.
Yeah.
Come on.
Matter of fact, you're not in love with the actress. You're in love with the character.
no, that kid was 20.
Come
all right,
on. Own up, Polanski.
I know.
shut up.
Somebody gonna lock you up in a submarine and sink that shit. You better be careful, man.
Maybe I'm just in love with her haircut.
He's a little out of his depth.
Of course, you could be a real asshole and take that friend of yours who is expecting a submarine movie. It's about independent movie about a little precocious little British white boy.
Remember how much you like that Matthew McConaughey submarine movie? Well, I'm gonna show you a real submarine.
Man, fuck you.
This movie is called Submarine. That's the name of it.
It's your big love letter. I've got a big heart. Dear Jordana, you're the only person I'm allowed to be shrunk down to a microscopic size and swim inside me in a tiny submersible machine. You're too good for me. You're too good for anyone. Sincerely, Oliver. I was crying earlier. My eyes are probably red.
They look fine.
Well, maybe they don't go red when I cry then.
I heard the news that you're planning to shoot